Hey, I just wanted to quickly show like one of the application which we built recently. I think it's pretty cool and I think like people will like it and it could be really useful like in one of your use case. So what I wanted to do is just to quickly build a interface around like a model, for example. So let's say we're developing something in Python to do some prediction and we just wanted to have like an interface around it so we can do those prediction, like have fun with it, see the graph and everything. So just let's get started and let's try to quickly do that like without prior knowledge and anything. So for that, we'll be using the Titanic data set. So just to be able to predict if someone is likely to make it alive or not out of the Titanic. So for that, we can quickly go on editor.plumber.io and we have two options. We can do it in Python with the interface being done in Streamlit, but we can also do it in R with ShinyR. So we'll do that in the future, but today let's start with the Streamlit one. So for this, we'll just like ask Claude, or we can ask ChatGPT also, but to create like the perfect interface for our model. So let's go. So create a Streamlit interface for predicting if someone is likely to make it alive out of the Titanic. Out of the Titanic. We can also like the data is located here. So send the link so the model will be able to know where to look for the data. And what could be important too is also to like include a quick sample. So this is a sample of the CSV. So just showing the model all the different column and some potential value. And the last thing which we'll say is like there might have some missing data in the dataset. There might have some missing data in the dataset. So when it's done, we can just create our application. And now it can take like a little bit of time since everything is done like on your own computer. Even if you are on your browser, we're just spawning like Python in the browser and we're able to do everything. So one important thing to be aware is everything is public. So if someone have your URL, so if you go at this URL, you'll be able to see all the code and all the value. So it's important to not like embed your secret into it and everything. But once it's done, we'll be able to have an application. But here we have like a problem. So let's quickly go over and see what's happening. So we can check the terminal. What we have here is an uncaught objection. So we have a couple of error we can check. Processor. Just cut this part. Perfect. So if we look at the error here, we have a uncaught exception, which is a yeah. So now we have a quick error, so we can look at the error and check. We have a missing key, if I'm all right. So raise key error, and none of key are in access name. So we can go and try debug it. We can also ask directly the model to figure out the error and like propose some change in our case. So for this, we can try to fix by verify the data loading step, add this to the right after loading the data. So here, if we look at our application, we have load data. So what we can do is just print here. So we have that, we can find the value. So this one is being loaded. Oh, right there. So we'll load the data and we'll check the available column. We can quickly just rerun the application. Everything will be reinstalled. Perfect. As I know the error. So if we look, we try to rerun it, it doesn't work, but we can see that here. Sorry, I've deleted it. We just like write something to our application with streamlit.write. Streamlit is import here. So this is why we can do st. And we see that we have not found. So here our URL isn't the right one. What we can do is just change it for the right one and we can rerun our application. So let's try it. Perfect. With that fixed, like we have the good URL, now we can just export. But we can still see there's an error up there. So what's going on? Let's check the terminal. And turns out it's this, is it? Yeah, it's the same error as before. So what we can do is just quickly save with Control S, and we can reload the page just to clear all the terminal from the error. So this will be gone. And once that is done, like we can start explore the application. So in that case here, we can make our prediction from like the model that the AI generated. So if we look in the code, we can check the code quickly. So we have our pre-processing. So we pre-process our data, fit and transform to make sure that everything is all right, and all the missing value. We train a model and we cache the resources. So we always return the model. So we just train it one time. In that case, we're using a random forest classifier. And once that is done, we just create our UI, all the select box that we'll be able to select here. And we have our predict. And when we predict the survival rate, what's happening is we just encode everything, we do a prediction, and once that is done, we can output all the value out of it. So we'll display some statistic about the original data set and everything. So now we can look at the application. So with that, we have our prediction dashboard. We can choose the passenger class and all the feature related to it. So let's say that we are in class 3, one kid, we are male, we paid 16, age 46, port Q, and number of sibling spouse aboard 0. So if we predict that, we'll just run the model, and in this case we have 32%, which is not really good. It's some odds that I don't want to take personally. And let's try to make someone that is likely to survive. So let's say a first class passenger, female with 2 children, age 32, and with 1 spouse. So let's predict. Now we have 88%. Like personally, I don't want to be on Titanic, but this is way more likely to survive. So with all that, we have like a good application, and what's cool is we can share it with our friends. So we can just share the application, and someone with the link can quickly go on it and see everything. So all Streamlit Python, the model will be loaded in his browser, and he'll be able to interact with the application. The only thing to be aware is they have access to the code, so it's important not to put some classified information or like some environment variable, password, and stuff like that. But if you want to share it with your friend, you can also like deploy it on our platform, which will just hide the code, and your Streamlit will be running on an actual server in that case.